Steve, how have you used the time since the Hartlepool game on 5th of May?
Mini pre-season. Probably the best way of summing it up. Mini pre-season.
Because it's not often you get 16 days to prepare for a game, is it?
No, that's why the mini pre-season come in, really. It wasn't like we only had a week's break. If we'd have had a week's break, we could have gone through a normal week. But we've probably had a mini pre-season is probably the best way of putting it.
And have you been able to get any mini pre-season games in that time, or has it just been work on the training field?
No. It's very, very difficult to try and find any opposition. So anything we've done towards the back end of that have been our 11v11s ourselves. So no. And to be honest, after that, I'm not sure we would have gone for that. You can pick up an injury, can't you? It's not necessarily what you would call a meaningful game. So anything you can have, you can keep pretty much between your squad.
Have you ever had this long to prepare for a game in 30 years?
No, I haven't, no. But I think we've used it well. I think that everybody's very happy with the outcome. Considering the game's tomorrow now, we think we've done everything that we could possibly do. So hopefully that will stand us in good stead come kick-off. Because
I guess the main thing is to keep the players fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think what happens throughout the season as well, I think that, when you go through a season and, you've played like 55 games, sometimes you don't get those moments throughout the season to have what I would call top-ups. So, for instance, the centre-backs won't run as much as the wingers. Are the full-backs doing as many kilometres as they would do in pre-season? So that was the idea of the mini pre-season. And hopefully we'll see the benefit of that.
I was going to say, how much does that help someone, say, like Jordan Moore-Taylor, who's, just got back in time? Presumably he's come through the Hartlepool game okay?
Yeah, he did. And like I said, I think your fittest time in football is probably at the back end of pre-season. That's when you're probably at your lightest, your body fats are down. So by the time you get to the end of the season, you've gone through the winter months, you'll find that probably weights have gone up, body fats have gone up. So what we've done is trim those down.
And everyone else okay as well? I mean, it was virtually a fully fit squad you had at the back end of the season.
Yeah, there's only Ryan Innes, who came off against Hartlepool, that we need to have a look at.
A late decision there?
Probably, yeah.
You didn't know until last week that it was going to be Southend. You knew it was going to be either Southend or Rochdale. What did you make of Southend's win up at Rochdale?
Well, it's funny. It was quite an emotional occasion. It was a good crowd. Both sets of fans were very vocal. Looked a bit of a tense game at some points. At 2-1, I couldn't see maybe Rochdale not scoring another goal in the game. But then it's funny because at 3-1 there was a couple of subs made by Kev, and they got back to 3-2, and it was sort of, you could see the game going Southend's way. It turned, and then obviously to get a win up there was a really good win. But whoever we would have played would have been a difficult game anyway. So we're just looking forward to it. We've seen the game. We went up. We saw it live. So we've done all the stuff that we can do, all the homework we've done. We can't do any more, I don't believe, than we've already done. So now we're just looking forward to kick-off.
And obviously you've played them twice in the league. Both games ended 2-2, and you kept going ahead in those games, but it just shows you how difficult they are to beat. Are they a team who just don't know when they're beat, Southend?
You could say that about us, couldn't you? So, I think the two games we had, I thought they were pretty much ding-dong, really. So, we've had a look back at those games as well and looked at some of those things we think we could have done better, and trained on those moments. So let's hope, that we can keep ourselves going and play to the good parts that we played in those games, and eradicate some of the bits in the game that we didn't feel as though we'd done as well at. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
You mentioned about the crowd having an influence up at Rochdale. How big a part can they play here at the new lawn on
Ours, you
Wednesday?
mean?
Yeah.
Well, I say about it every week, that I think crowds play a huge part in football these days. So, I don't think that I would say anything different about ours. I wouldn't say any other club really. So, yeah, we need them behind us. I need them behind the boys, and to drive them on. And we're looking forward to it. We're ready.
And how much does it gladden your heart when you hear the South Stand sold out, the East Stands, only single tickets available?
Yeah, no, pleased. I mean, look, the more the merrier, and let's hope that we can, or first of all, they can cheer us on, and then we can give them something to cheer about.
The format of these playoffs, obviously you've been in playoffs before with two legs, but this is a one-off game. Does that mean home advantage can potentially count for more? How does it differ from two-legged playoffs?
Well, like you just said, I suppose there's only one, and if you had to choose where you're going to play, home or away, you'd probably choose at home, wouldn't you? So, that would be no different to probably what Kev would want at Southend as well. But, the league table is what it is, and the format is what it is. Whether I agree with the format or not is irrelevant. So basically, it is what it is. We've done what we've done. We've managed to navigate our way around, those long weeks. I wouldn't change anything. When I look back now, I wouldn't change anything we've done. I think it's been good.
And how much confidence can you draw from that as a club collectively? Because it has been a journey, and you've turned the direction of this club around in the last 15 months or so.
Yeah, I do think that. I do think it turned around very quick. But I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of hard work doing it. It hasn't just happened. That's for sure. It hasn't just happened at all. There's been a lot of hard work that needed to be done. As you say, that I suppose the 15 months or so, 16 months, whatever it is since I've been here, I've had a go at it. But the two I suppose seasons before were pretty difficult to turn around. It's very difficult when you get on that slippery slide. First of all, you've got to try and stop the slide, and then what you've got to do is try and build on top of it. And I think that the new players that have come in have gelled well with the older players that were here. I think they've got an incredible spirit about them. I think they get on well together, which is really, really important. And I think it's a huge testament to them that we are where we are, considering probably 50% of the players might have been involved in those last couple of years, if you know what I mean, 18 months or so before I got here. So it's a credit to them as well. It's not just about the new boys that have come in. It's about the other boys helping to turn, what had been a difficult situation here for a little while. So we're focused on tomorrow night, and that's the main thing, because that's in front of us.
How difficult is selection for you? Or how difficult have the players made it for you?
Well, sometimes it's certain things can be dictated to you by injuries or suspensions that we've had in the past. But I think that they've, when I look back at what's happened over the last 2.5 weeks, I feel as though I could pick any of them. I haven't, obviously, but I could pick any of them, and they would all be ready and ready to go, maybe bar one or two. So I think that I think they've done really, really well, and we're just looking forward to the game now.
And when you've got that level of trust in your players, you must have really good hope and belief that they can go out and perform as you know they can and deliver on the occasion.
Yeah, I haven't doubted them probably in any of the press conferences this season that we've had. There have been a couple of times over the period of the season where I would have been disappointed with them that you would have known about, and there would have been other times where I would have been disappointed with them that you wouldn't know about. So I always say what goes on in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. I'm a firm believer in that. So, yeah, I have a lot of time for the lads. I've spent a lot of time with them. And I know how hard they've worked to turn around the situation you mentioned a couple of questions ago.